Yo, this is Dorky Diggity Dave and my main man John over there. And today we're talking about Black Widow. Dude, she is looking absolutely fantastic. What do you think, man?
I think she looks awesome. I'm excited to see you guys play with her. She's got a ton of great stuff in her kit. You don't want to miss it.
Miss it? Wow, we're going there already? Nice. Well, let's have a little fun, maybe a couple of puns, and deep dive another one. Let's go through some of these abilities here. We've got some basics, and I really do like the double hits on her mediums. It's very much like Stealth Spidey, and that really comes in handy. What do you think?
Yeah, I find it super useful. It's great for going up against Void, easily get to those 10 combos, and just shrug off those debuffs as fast as you can.
Nice. It's also great for Korg, too, because you're taking down that rock shield real fast, a lot faster than you would, because you're getting 7 hits in one combo instead of the regular 5.
Yeah, and all of her base hits, her mediums and their lights, they're all energy damage, so you're not taking any Thorns damage from those medium attacks either.
And you know, one of the things I noticed is that her dash back is really good. It's actually so good, it makes it easy to dex Annihilus's SP1.
She definitely gives you some extra space to get out of the way of those really hard to dex specials.
So you were mentioning energy damage. This is happening on all of her baton strikes.
All of her mediums and lights are her baton hits, and she'll also have a 40% chance to shock the opponent on all of her baton hits as well.
Okay, so there's this new little icon up there. It's a white Black Widow icon. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
That's Widow's Insight, the new Black Widow's new mechanic. It's all about punishing the opponent. So after a special attack, after they throw a heavy attack, whenever they finish a combo, you see that little Widow's Insight pop up on your side of the screen, and then attack as soon as you can, and you're going to get a bunch of bonuses during it.
Sounds like a prime candidate for some sweet intercepts.
Yeah, every time you use Widow's Insight, you're going to get more and more stacks, and then you can bank them in later with the SP3.
Can I stop these from happening?
No, these are actually totally unaffected by ability accuracy. This will happen no matter what. One thing I really like about Widow's Insight is it'll give you an early warning, so you can see when a dash attack is going to come in, you can see when they're about to end their combo, and you can also see when they're about to end a heavy attack.
So once you have this Widow's Insight going, you end up getting all these different effects based on what you're doing, right?
Yeah, each of your base attacks, your mediums, your lights, and your heavies are all going to have different effects. Your light attacks are actually going to get a 60% increased chance to apply a shock, means 100% chance on your light attacks to apply a shock.
And there's so many shocks as they're just stacking one after the other. It's crazy.
It's a ton of shocks.
I guess she just wanted to keep all the shocks current. So medium attacks, looks like they're reducing ability accuracy by 70%. That actually sounds pretty useful, man.
All of your medium attacks, while Widow's Insight active, are actually going to fire almost the same way that OG Black Widow worked. So anytime you're hitting the opponent, you're going to have a 70% chance to make their abilities fail. So things rock stacks, anyone with evade, so Spidey, Iron Man Infinity Wars, auto block, all of these abilities have a 70% chance to fail on your medium attacks.
Now, this heavy attack that we have here, 100% chance to stun for 1.75 seconds. I gotta tell you, man, I've tried to parry and then do the heavy, and I got no stun afterwards, and I was like, what is going on? So help me out with that a little bit.
If you punch the opponent's heavy attack, you'll get a stun. So it's kind of hard to line up, but once you get used to it, once you learn your opponent's moves and abilities, you can really try to line this up wherever you have the chance, and you'll get a pretty nice stun.
Now, combo enders, which are like your last medium or your last light attack, give a precision buff for 24 seconds, and you can stack up to 8 of these. It's pretty amazing. John, you know what that means.
Big yellow numbers.
That's right. Now, next thing on the list is the counter evade attack. Tell me a little bit about that.
Whenever Black Widow has a miss against her opponent, so you say you're fighting a Guillotine 2099, Invisible Woman, any of these characters that are going to make you miss a lot, you immediately get a 100% chance to evade. When you proc that evade, you will apply a Sabotage debuff to the opponent. She's an amazing miss counter.
Miss counter? I thought she was Miss Romanoff. So Sabotage, that's like another new mechanic as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so Sabotage is a new mechanic we've added to Black Widow. It functions very similarly if you're familiar with Domino, her critical failure. So whenever Black Widow evades the opponent, she will apply a Sabotage debuff to the opponent. and it will lower their defensive ability accuracy by 20%, and every time one of their abilities fails to trigger, she'll do a burst of direct damage.
Wow. And so does this have anything to do with the Widow's Insight effects? So when you're doing a medium attack and you're reducing that ability accuracy by 70%, is this coming into play there?
Exactly, that's the whole point. Get that sabotage on the opponent as fast as you can, and then you're going to use your medium attacks and you're going to lower their ability accuracy even more. Combined with the medium attacks and the sabotage debuff, you're lowering their ability accuracy by 90%. That means anytime you're hitting them and they have an ability that would trigger whenever you hit them, it's a 90% chance for it to fail, and you're just going to do some extra damage to them. Even somebody like Hulk, whenever you hit him and he's trying to trigger his on-hit furies, all of that's going to fail and you're going to do damage.
Now, as a rank 3 6-star, I'm seeing 62.8 damage. That seems really small.
Yeah, so these numbers look really, really low on paper for that sabotage damage. It can be increased by other means, but it's also going to fire all the time. Almost every time you're hitting the opponent, if they're on a node or they have an ability that reacts to you hitting them, it's going to go off every single hit.
So smaller red numbers, but happening a lot more often.
Yeah, you're going to see those red numbers popping up almost every hit. And another way you can get it is when you throw the special 1, you're going to get the evade charge from that, and that'll give you another opportunity to do your counterattack evade and apply the sabotage debuff to the opponent again.
Nice. Well, you read my mind because it is time to talk about those specials. So the special 1 here has us applying shock damage for 13 seconds, so that's a nice addition.
Yeah, so she's very true to the rest of her kit. She's doing tons of shock damage. She also gets that evade charge, but it only lasts 6 seconds, so you got to make sure you use it quick. The other nice thing about the SP1 is even if you miss the opponent or you hit into their block, you still get that evade chance. So even if they're blocking it and you don't actually connect, you still can evade an attack that comes in right after.
Now the SP2 is pretty nice, man. It's got me bursting at the seams.
Oh man, so you're talking about that shock damage. So the SP2, you apply some instant shocks, a lot like Darkhawk when he's in his null mode. As soon as you hit the opponent, immediate chunk of shock damage. Really, really big numbers on this too. Tons and tons of extra damage. And while you're in Widow's Insight, this ability also gets the same effect as her medium attacks and will lower the opponent's ability accuracy by 70% while you're hitting them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hits going on here. And the other thing is that it's not a single bit of burst damage. It's every single contact attack that is getting this burst damage.
It equates to a ton of extra damage at the end of it, and this is definitely the main place you want to be for extra damage. So next we got the SP3. We saw earlier in the SP1, and whenever she's fighting a character that can miss, you can apply sabotage by evading. You can also apply a longer duration sabotage with the SP3.
Now if you stacked up that Widow's Insight, for every 5 stacks that you have, you're increasing your crit damage rating for 30 seconds each, and that can stack all the way up to 10 if you have the full 50. And you know what that means, John?
Even bigger yellow numbers.
So this signature ability, it looks like this is ramping her up pretty nice, man.
Yeah, so this is great for that sabotage debuff. It's going to increase the damage that each time the opponent fails a move, it's going to go up to 120% increased damage. It's going to increase the duration by up to 80%, almost doubling the duration. And then the real key piece for me is every time you hit the opponent while they have that sabotage on them and you have Widow's Insight, it's going to pause the sabotage.
I really like that. Now, what I want to know from you is your champion rotation. Like, what's the best way to use this champion? How do you use her?
Yeah, so I think she's actually extremely circumstantial for what fight you're in. If you're in just a regular fight and there's not a lot of opportunity for you to get a ton of bonus damage off that sabotage, I find just ripping through, getting as many hits with the Widow's Insight as I can, and just using that SP2 for all the increased bonus shock damage on each hit over and over again is awesome. But if you're fighting somebody that you can get a lot of sabotage damage off, I always try to rush that SP1, immediately get that sabotage on and just start laying into them. Then if it's a longer fight, I built a SP3 and I do the same thing.
Okay, synergy time. Now, one of my favorite synergies with her is with Red Guardian because it adds on that counterattack evade passive, except it's not on a timer. It's there the whole time. So you can basically go through these matches and use that as your safeguard.
It's a great safeguard. It's also a great way to just start up and getting that sabotage and damage in right away. I really, really like for her though the Taskmaster synergy she has. Every time you attack the opponent with Widow's Insight, you're getting 2% of a bar of power. That's a ton of extra power for her, tons of extra SP2, and you're going to do damage.
Well, we all love power gain for sure. That is sounding fantastic. Now, is there a particular mastery that you think works real well with her?
I think running Despair, max it out, 3 out of 3. Really, really awesome for her. She's going to put a ton of shock debuffs on the opponent. That's going to remove a lot of their healing. You can get pretty close to heal blocking them. Not all the time, but you're going to mitigate a lot of that healing.
That's the kind of combo I like on this brand new Black Widow in the contest. Well, everyone, thanks for stopping by on this Deep Dives for Black Widow. It's been an absolute blast, and I want to say big thank you to my main man, John, over there.
Hey, thanks for having me along again, man. It's always great to come out here and talk about these new characters.
Yeah, man, you bring the knowledge, you bring the fun, and now you're bringing the puns. I absolutely love it. So, guys, if you liked the video, and I hope that you did, go ahead and click subscribe, click like, leave a comment. All that good stuff is absolutely fantastic. And remember, stay dorky, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Oh,
Potamus!